I want you to think about your efforts to stay healthy. You're at the grocery store, carefully choosing what you believe are the right things. Maybe you pick up some cranberry juice to support your bladder health, a glass of milk every day for your bones, or a healthy protein bar to keep your energy up. You are doing this because you care. You are being proactive. But as a urologist, a doctor who specializes in the body's foundational plumbing and core vitality, I see patients every single day who are unknowingly consuming certain healthy foods that are actually working against them. These foods can irritate their system, disrupt their balance, and slowly drain that core energy we call our hidden strength. Today, out of a deep sense of care for your well-being, we need to talk about 3 of these food imposters. My goal is not to create fear, but to give you the knowledge to make truly informed choices so you can reclaim the strength and vitality you deserve. So let's expose these health food myths that could be affecting your urinary health, your energy levels, and your overall sense of well-being. It's time to understand not just what to eat, but what to be mindful of. The first healthy food to never eat: most store-bought cranberry juice. The first food on our list is perhaps the most shocking of all, because it is the one product that's been marketed for decades as the ultimate solution for bladder health. I am talking about the big bottles of cranberry juice cocktail you see lining the supermarket shelves. Let me tell you about a dear patient of mine. We'll call her Eleanor. Eleanor was a woman in her early 70s who had been plagued by recurrent urinary tract infections, UTIs, and a general feeling of bladder irritation and urgency for years. Following what she thought was the best advice, she was diligently drinking 2 large glasses of cranberry juice cocktail every single day. She was convinced it was helping, yet the cycle of irritation and infection never seemed to stop. On top of that, she felt tired and sluggish, especially in the afternoons. Here is the truth that shocked Eleanor and shocks many of my patients. The vast majority of commercial cranberry juice is little more than sugar water. A standard 8-ounce glass of cranberry juice cocktail can contain over 30 grams of sugar. That is more sugar than a can of Coca-Cola. While it is true that cranberries contain special compounds called proanthocyanidins, which can help prevent bacteria from sticking to the bladder wall, the massive dose of sugar in these cocktails completely negates the benefit. Sugar is a major bladder irritant. It creates an acidic environment that can make symptoms of urgency and irritation worse. Furthermore, sugar is one of the single most pro-inflammatory substances you can consume. It fuels that silent fire throughout your body, which does not help your body fight off infection. So Eleanor, in her attempt to soothe her bladder, was actually bathing it in an irritating, inflammatory substance every single day. What is the healthy swap? If you want the benefits of cranberries without the harm, you have a few excellent options. First, you can find 100% pure, unsweetened cranberry juice. It is extremely tart, so you would only use a small amount, perhaps an ounce or 2, diluted in a large glass of water or sparkling water. This gives you the beneficial compounds without the sugar. Second, an even more effective strategy for many people, especially for preventing UTIs, is a supplement called D-mannose. This is a type of simple sugar that bacteria are attracted to. When you take it, it passes into your urine, and bacteria latch onto it and are flushed out, rather than latching onto your bladder wall. It's a highly effective, non-antibiotic approach. And of course, eating a handful of whole berries, like the blueberries we've talked about before, gives you bladder protective benefits along with fiber. By making this swap, Eleanor was finally able to break her cycle of irritation and reclaim her bladder health. The second healthy food to reconsider: excessive dairy milk. Now this next one is a nuanced and delicate topic, Because we've been told our whole lives that milk is essential for bone health. And while some dairy can be a part of a healthy diet, as a urologist, I advise my patients over 60 to be mindful of high or excessive consumption of cow's milk. Let's talk about Walter. Walter was a man in his late 60s who was very proud of his health habits. He started every day with a big bowl of cereal topped with milk, and he would have another large glass of milk before bed, believing it was crucial for preventing osteoporosis. At the same time, he was experiencing worsening symptoms of an enlarged prostate, BPH, a weak stream, and having to get up multiple times at night. He also complained of a persistent, low-grade digestive bloating that he couldn't explain. The connection between high milk intake and these issues is complex, but there are two key areas we need to discuss. First, as we age, many of us lose the ability to effectively digest lactose, the sugar in milk. This is called lactose intolerance, and it can cause gas, bloating, and digestive inflammation. This chronic inflammation in your gut can have a ripple effect, contributing to systemic inflammation and sometimes even irritating the nearby bladder and prostate. Second, and this is particularly relevant for men, some very large-scale, long-term scientific studies have shown a correlation between high consumption of dairy products and an increased risk of developing prostate issues. The exact reason is still being studied, but theories point to the natural hormones present in cow's milk or the very high concentration of calcium, which in excess might affect the body's hormonal balance. Now, I want to be very clear. This does not mean that a splash of milk in your coffee is going to harm you. This is about a pattern of high, daily consumption. For Walter, his 2 or 3 large glasses a day were excessive and likely contributing to both his digestive and prostatic inflammation. So, what is the healthy swap? It's about moderation and diversification. If you love dairy, consider switching to fermented dairy products like plain, full-fat Greek yogurt or kefir. The fermentation process consumes most of the lactose, making them much easier to digest, and they provide beneficial probiotics for your gut health. For your calcium needs, remember that you can get a huge amount from non-dairy sources like dark leafy greens, kale, collard greens, sardines with the bones, almonds, and fortified unsweetened plant milks like almond or oat milk. After Walter reduced his milk intake to just a small amount in his morning coffee and focused on getting calcium from greens and sardines, he reported that both his bloating and his urinary symptoms saw a noticeable improvement. The third healthy food to be mindful of: highly processed soy. Our final food is another one that wears a health halo but requires a closer look, especially for men. I'm talking about soy, but specifically highly processed soy products. Let me tell you about Robert. Robert was a health-conscious man in his early 60s who decided to adopt a more plant-based diet. He started drinking soy milk in his cereal, having soy protein shakes after his walks, and snacking on soy-based energy bars. He was trying to do the right thing for his heart and his waistline. But after several months, he noticed that he felt more sluggish, and his urinary flow, which was already a bit slow, seemed to have weakened even further. This is another complex topic, and it's vital we make a distinction. Whole soy foods, like edamame, tofu, and tempeh, when eaten in moderation as part of a varied diet, are generally very healthy. The issue arises with highly processed soy ingredients, like soy protein isolate. This is the stuff you find in most soy protein powders, soy meats, and protein bars. The concern from a urological and hormonal perspective centers on compounds in soy called phytoestrogens, specifically isoflavones. These are plant compounds that can mimic the effect of estrogen in the body. While the science is still evolving and can be controversial, the concern is that consuming very high, concentrated doses of these isoflavones from processed soy products could potentially disrupt the delicate hormonal balance in men, particularly the ratio of testosterone to estrogen. For a man already dealing with age-related prostate changes, some urologists, including myself, advise a cautious approach to these highly concentrated soy sources. Robert was unknowingly inundating his system with a massive dose of phytoestrogens every day through his shakes and bars. The healthy swap is to focus on soy in its whole and traditional forms, and in moderation. Enjoying a dish with tofu or tempeh a couple of times a week, or having some edamame as an appetizer is perfectly healthy. It's about avoiding the super concentrated, highly processed forms. If you're looking for a protein shake, consider alternatives like whey protein if you tolerate dairy well, or other plant-based proteins like pea or hemp protein. After Robert switched his protein shake and started eating a more varied diet, he reported feeling more energetic and noticed a modest improvement in his urinary symptoms. It was a lesson in how even healthy foods, when highly processed and consumed in excess, can work against our body's natural balance. So let's take a moment to bring this important conversation to a close. We have learned today that even with the very best of intentions, we can sometimes choose so-called health foods that are secretly working against our body's core systems. We've exposed the sugary truth about cranberry juice cocktail. We've had a nuanced look at excessive dairy, and we've distinguished between healthy whole soy and the highly processed versions that warrant caution. My goal today was not to create a list of forbidden foods or to cause you anxiety in the grocery store. My goal was to empower you, to give you the deeper knowledge you need to look past the marketing slogans on the front of the box and make truly informed choices that support your foundational health and help you reclaim that hidden strength. I invite you now to take one small, simple action. Just one. This week, take a look in your refrigerator or pantry. Do you have one of the foods we talked about today? If so, simply make a mental note. When you finish it, consider replacing it with one of the healthier swaps we discussed. Perhaps you'll buy a bag of whole, unsweetened cranberries instead of the juice, or try plain Greek yogurt instead of the flavored kind. That one small choice is a powerful step. Remember, this journey is about reducing the burden of irritation and inflammation on your body. Every choice that does that is a choice that builds your vitality. Be patient and consistent, and your body will thank you with more energy and greater comfort. Thank you for your time and your trust today. Be well, eat wisely, and I look forward to seeing you again right here in our next video.